Well, our goal on Halton News is to give you local coverage, so rarely would we get into international politics. However, with the inauguration of President Trump this past Monday, the threat of tariffs on February 1st, Canada is about to enter into a trade war. Considering the federal government is tied up in the midst of a Liberal leadership race, an upcoming election, and the provincial government is teasing an election, the trickle-down effect is that municipal governments have to step up.
Municipalities will be on the front line of any tariffs. Our communities will be decimated by a 25% tariff, and even retaliatory tariffs will be very painful. And I hope the government will continue to make the case that tariffs will be bad for both the US and Canada. But just as an example, Burlington has a $100 million capital program. We procure goods, services. We're not allowed by legacy trade agreements to favor local. And so I'm at the Rural Ontario Municipal Association conference here today. They had a bear pit session. So I stood up and asked Minister Bethlehem Falvey, like, are you going to take the handcuffs off? If we're in a trade war, we need to be able to favor Canadian companies in our procurement. There's a lot of money. I mean, that's $100 million for Burlington. Imagine that spread out over 444 municipalities in Ontario, and then you multiply that across the country. So we have a lot of purchasing power, and you know what? I'm ready to flex. So is everybody that was in that room yesterday. When Premier Ford was there talking about Team Canada, he got a standing ovation. So we are all in this together to help. I have personally offered the support and help of the Ontario Big City Mayors to the Premier. We know what this means for our community, so we're going to stand at the ready to defend Canadian interests, but also U.S. interests. This is not good for the U.S.
No, it definitely isn't. And why it's happening? Well, clearly, we don't even have to get into that. Clearly, we've seen what's gone on over in the U.S. already. Okay, well, let's bring it local here. And it's funny, we said we weren't going to talk about an election, but I guess we're the next topic that I have up here is public consultation of the ward boundary changes. Now, this is something that would take effect when we do get into a municipal election, which isn't for a year. It's not till 2026.
So we review how the wards are drawn. And over the years, just because of population patterns, it hasn't been done since '06, a change in the ward boundaries. There's been a lot of population growth, and growth goes where it does. It doesn't, obey municipal boundaries. So we have some wards that are below optimal. We have some that are above. So there's not equal representation by population, which is, of course, a foundation of democracy. There's also what I would call communities of interest that want to change ward boundaries. So we have parts of Maple on the west side that feel more of an affinity to the downtown Ward 2, but they're technically they are in Ward 1. I've heard from some of those folks already over the years. We have heard from them saying we want to be part of the downtown ward. So there's that kind of thing. What do we do with our rural area? Rural represented, there's three councillors that have part of a rural in their ward, plus the mayor. So they have four voices. Some have called for one rural representation. So I'm interested in, how folks feel about going from 4 to 1. But these are the conversations. So there is public consultation starting February 4th in every ward, daytime, evening, online, in person, pick what works for you. But there's a lot of opportunities for residents to weigh in.
Well, I do like the fact that there is opportunity for residents to weigh in, because we've just seen the federal, electoral boundaries changed, and I don't think there was much consultation on that. They just kind of happened.
It really did. So we're going to do it different. We want to hear from people. There was an article in the last City Talk from me about this very issue, and I have had dozens of people write to me about both issues. One is council size, which of course, council has now voted to retain council size at 7, but ward boundaries are still on the table. So people feel very passionate about this issue, and I just really want to thank everyone who's reached out to me to share their views on this.
And finally, just a note here for this Friday. I think it's pretty crazy that you and I have been doing these for about 3 years now. We've never met in person, but that all will change this Friday when I am emceeing your State of the City address.
Very exciting times. It'll be an opportunity, of course, for me to share the great news. There's incredible things that we have done in our community together in 2024. Lots of good things coming up in 2025. And these are tumultuous times, as you know, but we'll be ready. You know, municipalities are flexible. They're the most trusted level of government, closest to the people, and we'll be ready. So you can hear all about that on Friday morning. And if you aren't going to the breakfast, it's sponsored by the chamber. We will be posting the PowerPoint and notes online, so you'll still be able to participate in the conversation if you're not there on Friday.